What is up, everybody? Big B El Commandante here for the recap. Michael D'Angelo taking some much needed time off here. We'll see him back here next week, but we'll definitely, for now, you're stuck with me. We're actually going to be going over the fallout of WrestleMania 42. You have the Raw and SmackDown after. Lots went down, lots of debuts, lots of cuts, unfortunately. Lost Alistair Back, Zelina Vega, White, the entire White Six. Let me know how you guys feel about those cuts down in the comments below. I was pretty upset about the White Six when I was just thinking about it right now. It's going to be hard to replace that, and I think the issue with them really was that creative didn't know what to do with them, and unfortunately, because they didn't have Bray there to really, push for it like they've done before. But Bray has, Bray's legacy will always live on, and I think Bo and all the YS6 will bounce right back, whether it be in AEW, TNA, or somewhere else. I'm sure we're going to see them pop up and do phenomenal. So we'll see how that goes. Opening up first with Raw, first segment of the day, of the night, actually. Obafemi comes out to thunderous pops. The whole crowd, doing the dance, chanting Oba. He comes out just with a solid one-liner after he retired Brock Lesnar. The ruler has arrived. Mic drop, and he poses, and that's it. To be honest, I think that's perfect because his whole gimmick has been about just action, just going in, dominating, and then walking out and leaving. And I think this was perfect. I mean, he just retired Brock Lesnar. I think that was very shocking to me specifically. I was so shocked to see that happen. I did not see that coming at all. I mean, I knew Brock was going to retire. I knew he was looking to end it. And when he did, it was a moment. And for him to let Oba go over the way he did, my hat's off to Brock. Thank you, Brock, so much for everything. And I think that's awesome. But again, builds Obafemi into a solid main eventer, skyrockets him to the top. So we'll see where he ends up here once the dust settles from all the feuds going on with the titles right now. After that, we had Rhea Ripley and Io Sky teaming up for one last time against the Kabuki Warriors, which we did not know was also going to be the last time we saw Kairi Sane. The match was solid, but the moment it was bigger, the bigger part was the moment after, right? They won backstage and had a quiet goodbye. Rhea Ripley heads over to SmackDown because, she is the champion for the SmackDown title. And so she's the undisputed, sorry, not the undisputed. Yeah, she is women's champion. So she goes over to SmackDown, and Io is staying on Raw. Io gets some kind of gold now. Hopefully she can go into like the Intercontinental US or even Women's Championship again, because Io is a great contender. So we'll see what happens. There is a odd moment in the hallway between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And that's really, I think that's the next story going on. I think they might go back to how Night of Champions, I think they did it last time too. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I know y'all will anyway. But I think they do it to where it's champion versus champion. That'd be a good little feud to do too, because you still haven't finished that story between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, the whole Judgment Day stuff. So we'll see how that goes. After that, we had CM Punk come out and just gets real. He talks about loss, grief, and how the title gave him reason to keep going, saying that he's just going to stay ready because title shots come out of nowhere. Wink, wink. Here comes Cody Rhodes, and they faced off to each other. He looks at Cody's belt, and Cody just says, just say when. So this was pretty much a clean setup, one of the cleanest they've probably done in months. Definitely CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes is going to happen. I'm sure they just haven't decided when yet, and I'm assuming that when may be SummerSlam because it is a two-night event, so you're going to need two main events. But I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, just because you're just giving Punk another title, because clearly Cody's on his descent right now, and I think Cody's about to drop the title to his next opponent. I mean, he came out with that mean looking shiner and those stitches. Like he got Randy did a number on him, and so that's, I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen with that one. I'm curious to see how that story unravels. Who's going to be the heel? Because CM Punk's super over as well. Cody did come out to a little bit of booze, but hopefully we'll get Homelander Rhodes and see how that goes. After that, we had the debut or main roster debut of Ethan Page, All Ego Ethan Page debuting against Javon Evans, which I thought was a really nice debut to give, because they have history together in NXT. But then Ethan Page did his debut. Of course, he did win, so he's going to become the number one contender. Rusev shows up and just completely wrecks everybody, including Penta. And now it's just not one person. I guess it's multiple because Rusev's still involved. We'll see. There's three people circling that title. I'm assuming some sort of triple threat will be coming around, so we'll see what happens with that. But again, I like that they're building the mid card a little bit better now. So now you have the new contender in Ethan Page, the monster, which is Rusev, and of course the champion that's going to be constantly under pressure being Penta. And I think that gives a lot of prestige to the Intercontinental title, and it's much needed because now you have Penta, who's been an amazing champion. He proposed the ladder match, and they had a phenomenal ladder match. I love the ladder match, and that was great to see. And I think now this is just going to elevate that title much, much more. So I'm happy to see that. After that, you had Liv Morgan come out to just kind of gloat about her victory and winning. Then Sol Ruka debuts, makes her debut from NXT. Now we're starting to get the clearer picture as to why they did all these releases. She looked great. She came out to kind of be like an ally a little bit, kind of commending, but then Liv Morgan's temperament started getting the best of her, and it ended up being a random match, even though they were all suited up, ready to go. So you had the match come out. Adam Pearce made it official. Liv Morgan won. Clearly, she's a champion, but Sol Ruka looked great. She even hit a Soul Snatcher, which Liv Morgan wisely rolled out of the ring for. But at the end of it, though, Stephanie Vaquer showed up, and Zarya actually showed up as well to turn on her buddy, I guess, her former ally. I'm sorry, I don't keep up with NXT too much anymore as I used to, but I know they had a match coming up on NXT, so that was probably to kind of build to that, which it obviously was. But yeah, Zarya come out and take out Sol Ruka. Stephanie Vaquera showed up on the ramp and stares her down, but then leaves. So that was interesting. I don't know what's going to happen there. Sol Ruka, she loses, but she doesn't look weak. So I think this is still a good debut for her. She looks strong in the match. Zarya already got heat because of the way she did it, which again, keep this in mind because we're going to copy paste that over in SmackDown a little bit later. But Stephanie Vaquera stays looming that she's not finished yet. So we're going to see what happens. They essentially set up a little trio feud there. So we'll see how that goes up. But speaking of people coming back, we also had the Vision coming out. Paul Heyman gives the real tribute to Brock Lesnar, which was awesome. The crowd was listening, and then before you know it, Braun Breaker comes back out. Seth Rollins attacks, but then gets overwhelmed. But then we had Street Profits looking in amazing shape come out, and again, to a thunderous pop, they come out to Seth Rollins take out the rest of the Vision, and then it ends again with Braun Breaker spearing Seth Rollins twice. So the real story here is Braun Breaker. Of course, they're building to that Breaker Rollins match that they need to do. This, of course, they're not going to rush this, but this is going to build over time and likely be the match at SummerSlam. So they got about a little under 4 months to get it done. So I think this is going to be great. After this, you had Finn Balor versus JD McDonough in what I felt should have been a PLE match because this is a bigger feud than what they made it. Finn Balor beats JD McDonough because he is obviously the more talented of the two, showing that Judgment Day is cracking. And then obviously couldn't help it, but out comes Dominic Mysterio to do a sneak attack. But even that wasn't enough because Finn Balor still came out victorious. And then Dominic Mysterio was forced to retreat after when Finn Balor actually did come out on top of it. So I think this is not done yet, but we'll see what happens there. I don't know where else they're going to go with this story. I think Finn Balor starts needs to building his faction, just needs to start building his faction now and getting that going. After that, we had the main event segment of the night, which was Roman Reigns backstage. He's coming out and he sees his cousins, the Usos, just standing there in gorilla conveniently. And of course, hugs them, congratulations are in order. Stops at the ramp and then tells them to come on out with join them. So he brings them out to tell them that he misses them. He misses their trust. He misses having them by his side and essentially reforms the bloodline with them. And they acknowledge him as their tribal chief. But this time he says something a little bit different. He says not for him, like working under him. They're talking about working with him and being there for him. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a different take on the bloodline. But then after that, it wasn't very short-lived. It was short-lived actually because Jacob Fatu comes out, and I thought it was originally to say he was going to join in with the bloodline, but instead, even better, he wants to challenge for that WWE title. He made some good points to it. He was talking about how he doesn't want the title. He needs it. He needs all that comes with it, all the glory, all the fame, all the money to better his family, put them in better schools, put them in a better house, give them a better life. This means a lot more to Jacob than it would mean to Roman, is the way he's trying to portray it. And I think it worked, especially for Jacob. Jacob has always been the underdog in trying to come out and do everything he can to just get better. And so Roman Reigns just told him he didn't feel he was ready yet. And of course, Jacob saying he's heard that his whole career, but he's going to give him a week to really think about it. and that Roman's going to give him his answer next week. So we'll see how that happens. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. It's going to be Roman and Jacob. Not sure, maybe at Backlash because that's what Jacob wanted to do. So it'll likely be a quick feud. But I don't see Roman dropping the title to Jacob, which would not look good for Jacob. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Maybe they change him over to the bloodline after, because you also had Solo trying to recruit him as well. So I don't know what's going to happen there with Jacob. I hate the fact that he's going to be the first title defense for Roman and he's not going to win, because I don't see Roman dropping the title that quickly. And Jacob's super over, but I don't see them doing that. So after that, this essentially ended Raw, kicked off the new season, because as you know, WrestleMania season starts again now. And so now that's how we kicked off WrestleMania 43 season. So that was Raw in a nutshell. Next, we have up SmackDown. You had, again, the continuation from Raw onto SmackDown. You had Jacob Fatu and the Usos. The Usos telling him just to join, trying to say, "Hey, let's work together. We'll help you get this money, and we'll help you. We'll be a tight family. We'll get you taken care of, and just come join our bloodline." So Jacob denies that, says he doesn't need the help. He says he doesn't want it. And after that, Solo comes out and says that he should be joining with him. But then Tama Tonga gets the mic and tells Solo, "Well, why are we wasting our time with him? Why are we doing this when you've already beaten, like, he can't even beat you?" And that triggers Solo. Solo super kicks Tama, and then the match is set up for Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa later on for the main event. So that's how that really essentially went down. I'm not sure how I feel about this one though, because I think they've been teasing this whole turn for Tamatonga out of the MFT faction for what seems like months now, but we'll see how it pays off in the end. I think that the bigger story here is that there's a little bit of hesitation with Jacob and whether he's starting to doubt himself, and that gets answered in the main event actually. But I think that right now what they're trying to do is trying to say that Solo isn't really needing the help. Solo is the one man wrecking crew, which he always has been. So I think this is going to be a good match to see. I will show you the super kick to Tamatonga was great storytelling. I think that's going to be something to watch for later. After that, we had Tiffany Stratton versus Julia for the Women's United States title. This was unfortunately just a means to an end for Julia's title reign. Tiffany Stratton, obviously still on top. She knows how to work a crowd. She's good in ring skills, and obviously she has the character to back it up and keeps finding gold. And in this case, she does. This creates a rift between Julia and Kiana James, which will probably have a match between them. That's going to be the storytelling to keep an eye on, because Tiffany Stratton is, of course, now your new United States champion, even though she held the title upside down. Small little detail, but that's something that's a big no-no to OG fans. We know that you got to make sure you hold the title the right way. But Tiffany Stratton is now your new women's U.S. champion. Maybe she'll have open challenges. Maybe she won't. We'll see who her first feud will be against. But again, Julia is kind of being pushed over to the side. I'm thinking WWE just doesn't know what to do with her or how to use her. And unfortunately, I'm not sure what they're going to do with her after she has that feud with Kiana James. If she has the feud with Kiana James. I mean, she survived this last ring of departures, but I don't know if they're going to have more. WWE is kind of weird with that. So after that, we had Brie Bella and Paige come out to talk about their title win and being the new tag team champions, only to get interrupted by Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. They end up having a quick match, a tag match, and this ended very quickly just because the made a huge statement. They took out all four established names in one segment, and then it ended in a no contest because they just destroyed everybody, and then they stood there standing to a crowd of boos. And this was actually a really good match. I was actually enjoying the match, and it just went down because, of course, they came out and destroyed everybody. So we'll see later on how that kind of impacts as well. After that, we had Cody Rhodes come out and address the WWE uniform. He came out banged up, black eye visible, and addresses, Orton, Sami Zayn's Golden Boy comments, the mysterious outside forces that kept interfering in his WrestleMania plans. Says that they're 0-3. He says, "I'm easy to find and hard to beat." Cody's in his full veteran mode right now. He's telling the story with injuries, with wardrobe choices, every word. Of course, the way he dresses, he's always there, ready to go, the way he holds the title. He just seems himself as like the the boss to beat, right? That's kind of in the video game world. You're looking at the top guy to beat, and that's going to be Cody Rhodes. But he's talking about the outside forces, clearly speaking about the real world interference with the booking, because as we heard before, it's been leaked, the conversations from TKO, they actually have full creative control. Trips isn't doing anything. It's all TKO's booking. So that's the outside forces he's talking about. And again, open challenge, again, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We know that's going to be CM Punk to answer that. He's essentially talking to CM Punk because he was just on Monday Night Raw telling him to say win. After that, we had R-Truth and Damian Priest defending their tag team titles against Tamatonga, JC Mateo. R-Truth, Damian Priest successfully defended their titles. No interference, no shenanigans, just a clean title defense, which makes the MFT tag team look silly at this point because you have R-Truth and Damian Priest still holding on to those titles for whatever reason. Not sure which team is going to be on top in the tag division, especially because they let go of an established tag team as the Motor City Machine Guns. So now that the Street Profits are back, but they're on Raw, I don't know. Let me know who you think would be the ones to take off the titles off of R-Truth and Damian Priest. I'd love to hear it. I'm not too sure they're going to drop these titles anytime soon, but hey, we can book fantasy wise, right? After that, we had Trick Williams come out for his celebration for the United States Championship. He had a gingerbread man in tow with Lil Yachty. This obviously was telegraphed. The gingerbread man was, of course, Sami Zayn in disguise. He beat down on Trick Williams and Lil Yachty, took off the mask. And a funny thing is, he just still getting booed heavily. So Sami Zayn officially now, I feel, is a heel. Trick Williams is the face. The whole crowd is behind Trick Williams, no matter how bad they try to make him seem as a heel. Have Sami Zayn getting booed out the building, essentially, for this attack. So we'll see how that goes. After that, we had an entertaining, well, throughout the night, I should say, we had some fun, my favorite segments, which were the Danhausen segments of Danhausen going to Miz's house. He had the map of the stars, which was really just a big old map with an arrow pointing to Nevada or Vegas. I said that's where the Miz lives. Went into the Miz's house. It was great. He was in Miz's pool. He was taking his stuff. He was breaking his golf thing, hitting him with the golf clubs on accident. It was great. It was great. This resulted, of course, in a match between Danhausen and the Miz. Danhausen again using the "You Are Cursed," the little pyro hits when the Miz, I spaced on you guys. I am so sorry. Kit Wilson. I knew it was going to hit me. I had to sing the song in my head. Y'all know how catchy that is. And the Miz and Kit Wilson were on the ring apron, and then Danhausen hit him with the "You Are Cursed." The little pyro went off, and of course, it was enough for Danhausen to get in and pick up the victory. And I love how Danhausen keeps trying to escape with the smoke. He does like a fake smoke bomb, and then it comes up and he's still standing there looking at him, and he's like, oh shoot, that's right, I gotta go. And he ended up taking off in his Hausen mobile, which I thought was a great touch. I heard that's the Shotzi tank repurposed. I don't care. He's using it way more, and he's using it a lot more funnier. So I love it. After that, we had Rhea Ripley talking to JC Jane about, Rhea Ripley was out there to talk about her next opponent, what she has lined up. Fatal Influence interferes to thunderous boos. I mean, they couldn't even talk. They had to try and talk over the crowd, which is very difficult to do. A lot of back and forth. Essentially, this ended up being a impromptu match between JC Jane and Jade Cargill. They seem to be really hot on JC Jane because they were talking her up in commentary, talking about how she's the one that dethroned Stephanie Vaquer for the NXT Women's Championship, and they actually were having an amazing match. This was a great match. I had no complaints about the match. It was awesome. It was good until the end, when Rhea Ripley was about to end it and finish up the match and put JC Jane in the riptide. The rest of Fatal Influence interferes, and they ended up doing a 3-on-1 attack. And of course, Rhea Ripley no longer has anybody by her side, so she just got jumped essentially, and the crowd just kept booing. This is great heat for the newly established heels, the newly debuted heels, I should say. Fatal Influence is now going to be the next top stable to beat. I wouldn't be surprised if they also take the tag titles, because they got, I'm telling you, when they were getting booed, they were getting booed. JC Jane is a great wrestler as well. Those of you who are not familiar with her, make sure you check her out. I think she will be a great foe to Rhea Ripley, especially having her lackeys by her side. It's going to be an interesting way to build this match, but I'm enjoying it so far. I didn't care for the DQ finish, but I get it. We got to protect JC Jane, make sure that she's good to go, and make sure that she's not looking dirty, looking weak in any type of defeat. So that's pretty much it. After that was main event time. We had Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa. This was a great victory. The bigger part came at the end, though, because you had Solo Sikoa Of course, he had the MFTs out there beforehand. The Usos were warning Jacob, hey, you know the MFTs are going to interfere. So we got your back regardless. We're going to help you out. We're going to be there for you. And Jacob Fatu said, I don't need any help. Even when the MFTs started to kind of get up and start interfering with the match, the Usos came out ring. They were at the ring entrance, or I should say the entry ramp. And Jacob told him he didn't need them to stay there. And they stood there. They listened to him. They said, okay. And they stood there and they kept going. The Jacob Fatu ended up getting the victory, but then got jumped by the MFTs at the end. The Usos hesitantly went down. Again, Jacob said he didn't want them. So they didn't interfere in it. But right when they were about to, Jacob took out all of the MFTs by himself, beat them down with chairs, used the chair for the hip attacks, and stood tall on his own, showing them that he didn't need their help after all. This was more of a statement piece because going back to how Roman Reigns said that he wasn't ready, he didn't feel that he was ready for a title shot. Jacob essentially kind of proved that he can hold his own, he can handle his own. He doesn't need a faction, he doesn't need help, and this is essentially what this story was trying to tell. So I think they were very successful in that. Again, the match was just a catalyst to the actual story, but I enjoyed it. And it's going to be a good match. We see Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns. It is going to be a good match, but the question is he going to have a faction? Is he going to align with somebody? Or are they really just going to keep it clean and just do one-on-one? Time will tell. Roman Reigns will let us know on Raw whether or not he accepts the challenge. Likely he will, but we'll see what happens at that point. But that was Raw and SmackDown after Mania. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you turn on notifications so you know whenever we post stuff up, because we are posting content throughout the week. And make sure that you share your thoughts, share your opinions. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter to us. We just like to hear the feedback. We like to engage with you guys. At the end of the day, we're just big wrestling fans that want to just talk wrestling, hence why we do this. This is really more just for us to have a creative outlet to speak to y'all about wrestling. It's one of our favorite things to watch, pro wrestling. No matter how tainted TKO makes it, no matter how ridiculous they put the ticket prices, wrestling is always going to be fun and for the people. So let us know what you think. Until next time, I have been El Commandante. I will see y'all next week.